falls in love. If you are the type of woman who is too controlling, or she might be too flexible, stay in, because I used to be these two types that I'm going to share today, and it's okay. I've been there. Okay, so how do you get whenever you're in a relationship? Are you either too afraid? One second, let me just make sure this is working. Yeah. Okay, so are you the woman who is too controlling, or are you the woman who is so vulnerable? I'm sorry, who is afraid of being vulnerable, who is uncomfortable to say no, or maybe she's too bossy. The controlling woman, she does not want to surrender. Why? Because she thinks that she's gonna get hurt if she surrenders. She thinks that she's gonna lose control if she surrenders. And I actually wrote it down in my journal, because I used to be that type of woman who was afraid to release control, to actually surrender, to to release control. If you have this mentality, the controlling woman, if I surrender, nobody will take care of me. If this is you, stay, because I'm going to talk about these two women that are, both of them are abandoning themselves in love. Neither of them does not know how to have a healthy relationship, have a healthy way of relating. Sorry. If you are the accommodating woman, I went through a phase in my life, sorry, that I was too flexible, that I wrote here, if I surrender and show my real needs, he might leave. Who here is a woman who is accommodating? Or she might be with the provider man, but she doesn't know how to actually voice out her needs. She doesn't know because she's afraid that she might be too much, right? A lot of women have this belief, unconscious belief, that either they're not enough, they're too much. If you tell the truth, there could be conflict, right? If I stop performing, if I stop agreeing with what he's saying, then you are not going to be chosen. Hi, welcome in. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm so excited for you to be here, because we're going to talk about such an amazing subject, a subject that I've both been these types of women who was either too accommodating or was too controlling. Maybe I used to be a boss babe. And I was so extremely unhappy to let go of surrender. Why? Because I didn't want to depend, right? I was brought up with this idea of like, I cannot depend on a man because I'm not going to be safe. Like, it's not going to be a good relationship if this happens. Like, what's at stake here? I have to agree with everything that he says. And at the end of the day, whenever you're with a man, he chooses you because you're you. When you are with someone that agrees to everything, you kind of like lose yourself. You abandon yourself, and therefore your values are gone. Therefore, you lose everything that he once fell in love with in the beginning. I'm going to get to your questions once I'm done with what I have to say about this subject. But welcome in, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. Oh Lordy, from Ireland, welcome in. Hello, Larry. Hello, Mari. No, I'm not from the Philippines. I'm actually from Peru, but I live in Florida. And what used to happen, all of the times that I, was in a relationship, I didn't know how to have a healthy relationship, how to be happy in a relationship. I would end up being resentful. I would end up, instead of being happy of everything that I was given, I used to be resentful because I wasn't myself. Instead of, you know, standing my ground and just disagreeing, because at the end of the day, every person has a different perspective in life, in different things that they like to do. Whenever you're just a plus one, it's good to accompany your fiance or boyfriend, but at what cost? Is there a balance between what you're doing and what he's doing? Is there a balance between him accommodating to your needs as well? It's not only him. Does that make sense? Um, Hello, welcome in. Hi, Milk. Yes, I have a fiance, and I want to share that yesterday was such a special day because the first lesson for creating extraordinary relationships was released. And I just wanted to share with you that from having this inner work, having this transformation work, and being able to do it for, in September, it's going to be 6 years of doing the inner work, of creating a different identity that I used to have. I finally put together everything that I have learned, to create your soul aligned relationship. I just want to say that this type of work that I do in the course is for women who are brave enough to face their own patterns, who are brave enough to look at their own wounds and the stories that they've carried about love. Okay? Because the relationship that you're trying to create tomorrow is being blocked by the identity you've created so far. And instead of looking outside of yourself for answers, you have to look inwards. That's the first thing that I had to understand. Like what question, or what did I have to understand to attract my soul aligned relationship? And it was to look inwards. It wasn't, another video that I needed to get a quick fix. Okay? If you're interested in joining this extraordinary relationship and you're being called to create your soul aligned relationship, the link is on the description box. Otherwise, stay, because we're going to talk about, what does a controlling woman, what fear does she carry, and what does a accommodating woman, what fear she is carrying. I've been both of them. So yeah, if you have any questions about that, let me know in the chat, and I'm gonna go through the chat once I'm done with the message. Okay? I have a fiance. Like, I'm getting married next year. Anyway, so at the end of the day, both women are abandoning themselves. The controlling woman does not know a healthy way of relating. They both are carrying this fear around relating, because maybe in her past she had to step into the role of being the responsible one, the one who had to solve problems, and really wasn't able to just be. Whereas the accommodating woman, she might be in in an ideal relationship. However, she resents her partner. She resents her partner because she's losing herself every time she says yes to everything that she doesn't really want to do. So the relationship that you're trying to create is really being blocked by the identity you've built to survive yesterday. So if we've all, created this identity that we have right now, what are you afraid of? Like, what is the fear behind the accommodating women, and what is the fear behind the controlling woman? Like, why is she unable to receive in a graceful way, in a graceful manner? Because she think, how I said yesterday, I don't remember if I said it here or in the class in the first lesson, but anyway, I said something along the lines of, we're not everything that we see right now, it's based on familiarity. So if you're carrying a different thing, let me be more explicit. What are some ways that you've survived? Okay. How? The identity that you have might be with control, might be with people pleasing, hyper independence, or overgiving. All of these identities, they're characteristics based on an identity you've built. Like, you are carrying a personality and your survival mechanism to show up in a relationship instead of being loving and receiving and being this graceful woman. You learned that you had to control the situation. Let me know if this is making sense. Or maybe you thought that the family mechanism, you needed to people please, you needed to be agreeable, you needed to be palatable. If you needed to be palatable and you needed to, agree with whoever was in the family dynamic, you need to kind of unlearn that. Okay, Muhammad said something interesting, and he says actually, after marriage, love often decreases a lot. The husband and the wife are not able to give enough time to each other. I think I would challenge that, because that is not my reality. Even because the spark that you feel in the beginning might fade, however, love changes. Love creates this safety between two people that is way more powerful than what you had in the beginning, if that makes sense. So for a conscious relationship, to create this moment of intimacy, the women that I'm sharing, like, control is never going to give you that type of intimacy that I'm explaining. People pleasing and saying yes and being accommodating to everyone is never going to create that kind of connection between two people, because the other person is not really going to know her. So when you say love decreases, I would challenge that, and I would say to you, I think love changes, and it changes for the better, and it really depends to one person to make the relationship grow, to identify what types of needs you are needing as a man and as a husband and as a wife. And I think it is crucial to have, like an open communication system between the two people in their relationship to be able to communicate each other's needs. That is, intimacy, that is whatever it is that you need, you know? Some people value some things and the other, like everyone's needs are different. That's what I was trying to say. So yeah, control can never produce the intimacy that you are looking for. I What do you think? You think that Thank you so much for your compliments. I'm wearing this top because I'm doing another lesson for the course that I'm hosting on for the women who know there's more, for the woman who wants to create amazing and extraordinary relationships and is ready for attracting their soul aligned relationship. And kind of like red gives off that vibe of like love, of caring for yourself, and of passion. So I thought that I would wear it because that's has to do with the message that I'm going to give for the other class that I'm hosting after this live. I thought I would come on here and like connect with you, because yesterday was, so special and also important. Yeah, if you're interested in the course to create, an extraordinary relationship, the link is on the description box. Okay. Hi Mary, are you still online? Let me know if that resonated. Okay. Thank you, Rico. Hello, Night. Hi, Eric. Eric says, I'm a dad and I have a daughter. What advice do you have on raising her to have a strong self-esteem and on helping her navigate relationships? Do you mind sharing here how old she is? It's never too late to start. If your daughter is a baby, it's amazing because, I mean, whatever. Anyway, let me share with you what I've learned from psychology. Maybe you can tell me the age if you're feeling called. If not, it's okay. So from year 0 to 3 are the most, I wouldn't say important years, but like we are not able to articulate what we need. So we send out cues. So to give her, attention, nurturing, like physical touch is very important between the mother and the child. If you're a dad, I think the way that you carry your relationship with your wife sets the example for her. Like it's not it has to do with, yes, what you tell her, but like it really has an impact. If she's 8 years old, it has an impact what she's experiencing right now, what she's viewing you as the example that you're setting. So if you're loving, if you I don't know, are giving like gifts, or you show her love by just providing, that's a big thing. I think also the woman, your wife or your partner, like how she carries the relationship also matters. And for self-esteem, I think discipline was one of the things that my dad instilled in me a lot since I was younger. I think sports is really good. I didn't get into, psychology stuff until I was 20 something. So I would say encourage her in sports that she can have some learn discipline. And for self-esteem, um, and I don't know, encourage her to read, but really it matters more what type of example you're setting, like what you do. That plays a big role. Mohammed says Western countries are promoting feminism, which is wrong. Some women date other people even after getting married. This destroys society. Okay, I think we would have to really define what feminism is. I would find myself, I don't like labels because people misinterpret them. So I think I stand for women. I stand for being independent. I stand for, but also learning how to be provided for was something that I had to learn in the hard way. Not in the hard way, but it was very uncomfortable at first. So I think to better answer your question, it's like, what is feminism for you? To say that I would date people now that I'm engaged, it's something that I wouldn't be a part of. That makes sense. So I think that has to do with values. I think that has to do with how you were brought up. I think that has to do if you have an open relationship with your partner. I think it has to do more with, like I've said this in another video, I think about cheating or something like that, where I mentioned that the person who's cheating is seeking validation and is trying to fill the void that they have inside. Yeah. Let me just finish what I was gonna say about, what happens when you enter a relationship. And it was just really emotional when I was doing this type of work, because I kind of tuned into that Greta who didn't know how to have a healthy relationship, because I didn't have an example other than movies and other. So life experience really matters, life experience really matters. So I was kind of tuning in while I was journaling, and if you're, and I was going into the super flexible woman, and I was going into a super controlling woman, and it's neither. You have to have this balance between, oh, I would love to do that, not because I'm accommodating, but because I enjoy doing that activity. And being controlling, I would say to you, if you're controlling, learn your boundaries. If you're controlling, is maybe surrender. Believe that there's something way bigger than you that is actually organizing things for the greater good. Like whatever it is that you're that you believe, might be God, might be the higher power, the higher source, whatever you want to call it. Tune into that thing that you believe to be able to surrender more and more. So yeah, that's all that I wrote in my journal today. Because I really had to learn how to communicate my needs without thinking that there was going something bad happened. And I'm so grateful because I was able to attract a partner that is patient, that actually listens, that is conscious, that is aware and is willing to, see past our struggles in my mind. Because if you're able to communicate, like, what's the worst thing that can happen? A disagreement. But being in a relationship it's great because you get to enjoy life with someone else. You get to have a partner. You get to do beautiful things and experience, I don't know, traveling together. You get to build a family. There's just, I don't know. Yeah, that's why I creating extraordinary relationships, because the identity that I was able to create, it's really massive. Hi, Namfree. Oh my God, I am so into astrology. I don't really, share anything about that, but my sun is Capricorn, my moon is a Capricorn, and I'm a Libra rising. Hi, Nabila. Welcome in. Hi, Sophie. Welcome in. Yes, the higher power is there, and it loves you too. Mohammed says, how can we know whether the girl loves us or not? I think you, I think you need to develop more your intuitive side. When you're intuitive, you're able to see that, if that makes sense. Or maybe you can just spend some time with the girl, and only time will tell, if she's still dating you. It's because she cares. She wouldn't be dating someone that she didn't care, no? That makes sense. Like, trust is built with time, and also love. And you have to kind of write down everything that counts as trust, and like, what makes a person trust you, what makes a person love you. Maybe calling, she calls you, maybe she texts you, maybe she hugs you, maybe she's honest with you. I think all of those count. So you kind of have to write down everything that has been happening between you, so you can actually see what's really there, and not imagine it. Hello, Marco. You're from Italy. That's so cool. I love Italy. Darren says hi. Hello, Darren. Miles says, and if someone breaks the trust, like, what do you mean? What would someone have to do to break the trust? Cheat? I think it depends on the relationship. It depends on you, what you're willing to accept, and what you're not available for. Lies. Okay, that's good, because if someone lies, I don't know, I wouldn't be able to. I mean, I take a lot of time. It takes a lot of time for me to judge someone. Make sense? So I think you would have to see how many lies are you willing to accept. If cheats cheating is in the way, I don't think I would accept that. But it doesn't really matter what I think, it matters what you're willing to accept. Like, how many lies will it take for you to actually give yourself your place? Like, why would you put yourself in that position if she's only, or he is only lying? I don't give a lot of chances. I mean, I do give. I don't. I have been cheated on, and I mean, I broke up with the guy, and I never saw him again. I blocked him. It. So again, it has to do with how much you're willing to accept. That's the best answer I can give you. Don't Even Trip says, well, look, if you give that person another chance and another chance, they know that they're going to get away with it. 1000%. Yeah, how she said, gotta value yourself. But it's not really value, because I've also been in a situation that not necessarily I'm gonna share this with you, but I've been in a situation where something keeps showing up, and maybe the lesson there is not being learned. So I like to look at patterns, for example. This is something I talk about. Yesterday, we talked about in the course. If something keeps showing up, it's because you haven't learned yet. So, yes, I can tell you, it depends how much you're willing to take, but also, this is showing up. I want to make it work. What have I not learned? And why do I keep being in the same position? I'm very deep, so it really depends on your life experience and what you want, I'm engaged, by the way. Hello from Turkey, Istanbul. Wow, I love Turkey. Hello, Omar. I think Don't Even Trip says, with all respect, you're really beautiful. Why would a man cheat on you? I think cheating doesn't have to do with the other person. Like, since I was being cheated on, it has to do more with the cheater. So he was looking for some need that he wasn't able to communicate with me. So he looked out of the relationship to fill that need, to fill that void. And at the end of the day, he didn't really was able to fill that void. When you know this type of things, you can see past, beneath the surface. Like, yeah, the action of cheating was the result, but that's not why he did it. Make sense? Hello, Jora. Thank you. Don't Even Trip says, I see what you're saying, but why take time or waste time? What's the point of cheating? Because sometimes it's easier, just like, for example, we fight, we have a disagreement, and instead of solving the issue, what's safer? To go sleep, to go eat, to go watch TV, to avoid what's happening. So instead of us resolving the issue, I'm gonna go outside and fill that void. Make sense? The point of cheating is actually to just a distraction of what is really happening. Because it's easier. Thank you, Jora. So that is all that I had to say for, the woman who abandons herself. She might be a boss babe, or she might be flexible, but at the end of the day, they're all having the same fear. Let me know if you have any questions. I would love to also invite you one more time to creating extraordinary relationships. And it's for the type of woman who knows there's more, who knows that she's able to attract her soul-aligned relationship, becoming that magnetic woman she was meant to become, but she forgot. It's to be able to recognize. It's for the brave woman, because when we do this type of work, it's uncomfortable. It's for the brave woman who's willing to look inwards, who's able to rewire the patterns and be grown enough to have emotional regulation, to learn emotional regulation. So if you're being called to join, say no more, join the link on the description box, okay? I'm from Florida. How can you repair a broken relationship? Can you explain more? Like, what do you mean by broken? Does this have to do with cheating again, or because a relationship has to do with like the two people that are in it, Can you explain more? Don't even trip 2731. Yes to what? Oh, cheating. If you're the cheater or or you've been cheated on, I'm gonna share my perspective on both scenarios. I believe that yes, you can repair the broken relationship, but there has to be agreements from both parts. So if you were cheated on, you have to be able to move past that. It's gonna take time. And dedication. It's not, the worst case scenario, but they both need to want to be in the relationship. So okay, thank you so much for sharing. Don't even trip said, for example, I've been with my wife since high school, right? But now the guilt eats me inside. I came out with the truth, but it's not the same. Okay, I hear you. Thank you so much for sharing and for being vulnerable. Yes, it's not going to be the same for now. However, you just need to have a conversation with her, maybe even with a therapist. But I would recommend for you, if you're grown enough, you can have the discussion with her only, and show her with actions. Like, even if you sit her down and you tell her what you're willing to do and work towards, you have to be able to follow through what you say you're gonna do. And that might be actions. That might be doing something every day to show her that you're willing to change. I'm actually from Peru. Hi, Dwight. Dwight says, every serious relationship I had, I was cheated on. I don't believe that. It will never be the same. That's why I said it varies in different situations. Wow, you're hitting me with the tough questions. I was just thinking about what Dwight said. I hear what you're saying, but yeah, not every relationship is like what you've experienced. Don't even trip says, okay, I see. Now you were in a relationship, right? How would you heal? I was in a relationship. I was in a I was cheated on, but I did not go back to that with that guy. It was my first relationship. But if I were to be in that same position, right, I think I'm gonna talk from the past because I don't know what I would do. It's hard to answer. Okay, I see. Now you're in a relationship right now. How would you heal? I think I would need therapy 1000%, be able to trust myself, see. I think it's that women tend to compare themselves a lot. So you have to be really mature to like see past the comparison, to see past what he did, and to really understand you as a human being, not as the person you chose to be with. I'm not really sure if what would I don't I don't think I don't think I would stay in a relationship, you know? Peter says, is there truly unconditional love in humans? That's a good question. I think, I don't know. My grandmother, who taught me unconditional love, was just the way that she was. I think from what I've learned, I think there was a lot of resentment within her because she was unable to communicate her needs. And it hurts me to say. But she taught me unconditional love, with never expecting anything in return. But I don't think that's healthy. Like, yeah, I received that because I was a child, but I don't think that's, I don't know. I think between a mother and son, I think my grandmother, for sure. I think it depends on what type of caregivers you have. So I do believe, and I also believe in unconditional love with a partner if you're conscious enough to be willing to walk your life without judging the other person. You know, not based on what you know, but based on what he's showing you in the present moment, if that makes sense. I think I have that. Dwight says, I just got divorced 2 years ago in 27-year relationship. I'm so sorry. Thank you for sharing, and I'm so sorry that you had to go through that. Just like I said before, in a relationship that long, I think there's just, we don't know how to communicate what we feel inside. That's why emotional regulation is so important, because nobody even teaches us like, oh, we're feeling angry, but like behind that anger there's sadness, and behind that resentment there is years of unspoken needs that have not been said. So I think in a relationship that long, for 27 years, like cheating is just the surface action, like the surface result, but there's just, that's not the real problem, if that makes sense. There's way more things to uncover. Thank you. Don't even trip. Thank you so much. But you're lucky as well. Okay, you just need to learn how to value what you have, because sometimes we're really blind to what we have and we take it for granted because we forget. We become comfortable and we just forget. Hi, Monica. Welcome in. Thank you. Yeah, Peter. Yes, I do truly believe in unconditional love, but if you are conscious and when you have this, big awakening, or you wake up from the phase of the identity you built, like how you were conditioned in your childhood, and you're able to wake up from that, I think you really come and are able to see yourself for the first time. And once you're able to see yourself for the first time, then you will meet someone that is your reciprocal. So to answer your question, I do believe in unconditional love in romantic relationships. Hi, Dwight. Yes, of course. Of course, I'm not, judging or anything. I truly believe that every person is walking their life how it's intended to do, to be. However, we cannot change other people. We can only change ourselves and hope the outside world matches what we are. Okay? Thank you so much for joining me, and I'm going to film this other lesson for the course that I'm hosting. If you're being called, join me, and if not, I'll just see you in the next one. Okay? Thank you so much for joining me. Bye, guys.